Hey moguls, it's Dr. T here, and it's time for another upgrade to really help you elevate in your trajectory and to really make it so much easier to transcend realities that you've been in and just give you the tools to make these upgrades. Uh, each upgrade we do has the capacity to really be a multi-million-dollar upgrade. So I really invite you to receive it that way. What we're focusing on today has to do with this feeling of being trapped. And so many people refer to it as stuck or feeling trapped, or this is something that is sort of said in everyday language, feeling stuck, feel like I can't move forward. But I really want to take it into another level of understanding what's really happening. And that is that typically what's happening for people is that even though they are doing all this work, the prescribed work hard program, and they're doing activity and they're doing everything they can to put all their resources toward a better life, their energy, their time, their effort. The reality is that you can do all of that. However, the reality that has been running you and keeping you stuck and trapped can ultimately just be much stronger than what happens when we just try to work hard and work our way through it. And that is why so many people feel like they just keep repeating the same reality year after year. Just keep like, God, it feels like the same thing. It feels like I'm going nowhere. And what happens is you're doing the hard work prescription that we're prescribed to, like that's the end all be all. And if the rest of your reality and what's in it and who's in it is just continuing to stay the same, even when you're like just absolutely the hamster on the wheel doing everything you can, what happens is the reality can be so strong based on all the other things in it that you can then just burn yourself out because you just keep working hard, but the reality doesn't shift. And in that way, we really need reality training. We need reality understanding. And so I want to share with you that if you feel stuck, you feel trapped, and say you're even near that word trapped, we can tend to think of that as something light, even though it feels scary. We may not totally see it for what it is. And I just want to invite you all just into a greater truth of understanding about it and what's really going on. Because you may indeed, even with all the hard work that everyone in the world is prescribing to you, you may indeed be trapped in a reality that is so programmed into you in your cellular DNA. And you may have all these other components of your reality that, like, while you try to change on this one level, that's all continuing to go on. Your friends are doing the same thing, your family's doing the same stuff is going on. And so it keeps programming the same reality. And the truth is, when people get really honest with themselves, it's it's beneficial so that you can make a shift, but it can be pretty uncomfortable to really just go there and admit, like, this thing has me. This reality really has got me. It just keeps making more of itself. And the good news is these are steps through the truth, through being fully honest with yourself, that it's not just a small thing. It's not just a bad feeling. It's not just a thing we say in passing. That ultimately there's so much programming that has made this reality so long standing. Typically, again, it's like all these things are components of it in your life and they're just still doing their thing. And to really be able to come to terms with the fact that um, even though we're taught not to say these kinds of things, we have to get into the truth of it. And that truth is that it's a feeling of being in captivity to a reality. And I just want to share more of that in the things that I do as a company that just helps people break out of certain realities, transcend them, and go into another reality. Um, Beyond just the scope of coaching or therapy and these things that are touching on these important matters, if we really get down to it and understand, these realities are centuries in the making. They are generations that they've been running. And I definitely can relate to that feeling of doing so much to transcend it, recognizing around me that other people are just kind of doing the same thing. And what that can mean to truly recognize the things that are keeping you trapped in, stuck in, and captive in a reality and begin to address them. And this just all assumes and has to be that you make a decision that your higher purpose, your higher intentions are the most important thing, and that your freedom from being in captivity, from having a reality run you instead of you running it, is your top priority. And this is just key because people want to try to do a light little band-aid on it, a little coaching here, a little therapy here. But the truth is, there are realities in progress that people are really captive in. And years of their life go by. And then we're told it's a little of this, a little of that, a little, just lots of hard work, a little bit of coaching, some therapy, and maybe you're changing and your reality's changing a little. But what can happen is because all the other parts of the reality are staying the same, these people are doing the same thing, your city's doing the same thing, your town is doing the same thing. It can be really, in some cases, impossible to transcend that reality unless there is a willingness to make that your top priority. It can't be a part-time thing. It can't be a little thing. It can't be a minor commitment. It has to be to become truly free, where you're running your reality instead of the reality running you. And what I encounter a lot, well, have encountered in my life, is that other than the most amazing clients that I could ever ask for who make their trajectory and their conscious capacity and their intentional capacity for creating their most intentional reality a absolute top priority, the truth is, for the most part, a lot of people are just going to keep being engulfed by the reality that has been running them their whole life. And so, with the exception of a small population of people in this world, relative to the whole, that are truly willing to do whatever it takes to transform themselves and their reality programming, is how I refer to it, and to do tactical things that are necessary in order to transcend it, and then from such a place, then decide if there are any other parts of that former reality that you do want to continue. But otherwise, it's really like just effing and close to impossible to try to be at your top level, your fullest potential, and maintain contact and engagement with the reality that is down at another level. It's like you're confusing reality and which one that you're trying to do. And there are some people that will go all out and do whatever it takes to transform themselves and therefore the reality that they can create at any given moment. And then there are people who think they are willing to do that, and that they're just the people that actually are. And I think this is because we're not being completely honest in this world about what it really takes, because we don't want people to not try to change when they absolutely have to. It's that for the most part, the realities that people are trapped in and captive in are so freaking powerful that they convince you their job is to maintain themselves, so they just convince you that it's not going to happen anyway. They convince you that there's no hope. They convince you why bother. And the truth is, there are these very strategic tactics that will allow you to transcend captivity, move beyond the feeling of being trapped and being stuck and repeating the same reality, and push you into a place of freedom where you're running the reality instead of it running you. And along with that level of freedom comes a level of prosperity that just corresponds to it. And yet, most of the population, if you said to them, there's a set of things, and if you do it, you can live your absolute fullest potential for the rest of your life, and generations forward in your family will follow you. There's certain things that people won't do that they just have to do in transformation. One of them that's coming up as an example is, for some people, they may need a detox from a loved one in order to get clean and clear of a reality that you've been absorbing, right? Someone's been absorbing it. They may need to get clean from that in order to then see it for what it is and see how to navigate that in a higher level, not down here with it, but way above it, already stabilized in a new reality. Then you can make decisions about it. But people will tend to want to hold on to everything in their current reality when they really want another reality, but they ultimately want to hoard everything from the current reality and take it with them rather than make their fullest potential their top priority and all the amazing stuff that comes with that. It's like everything could be so fantastic, but they still want to bring with them the crap. And most people that are trying to transcend a reality and go into a higher level one can't even detox from people that are so a part of the current reality they're trying to transcend that they have to like actually immerse in the new reality and can't keep like seeing the same people over and over and actually make change, which doesn't mean that later they can be at a different level and then reconnect. But most people are bonded in what are called trauma bonds, or there's another name for it in attachment theory, which is they're in anxious or avoidant attachments, which means there's circuitry between people. And that circuitry, to a great degree in our world, it's like bonded in survival, and there's these trauma bonds. And people are just unable to be able to like upgrade, take a break, get clean from that same reality that we've been a part of forever, get into a next level of reality, be clean and clear, sober, and in intentionality and in a high frequency. Now being able to, from that type of transformation, really see the landscape and make decisions about things that you needed to detox from for a while and how you're going to approach that. So, say it was a family member and you needed to detox from them in order to transcend a reality level, get into the new one. And then now you could see what that relationship is and what needs to be upgraded. Now you can come from a place to decide, is this a yes for me? Now that you're not so tightly trauma bonded, is it a yes for me? And if it is, what are the terms of this relationship that I want to negotiate? Which I believe should be in every relationship. What is the purpose? What are we doing? What's the terms and parameters of this relationship instead of defaulting? And my sense from everything I've done in human transformations, it's really one of the most powerful things you can do is be willing to be free, to come out of captivity that we're in with different people and their realities and realities that we've shared together, and be able to move through a transformational process that is so productive for you that you are going to feel different. You're going to feel free. You're going to feel in truth. You're going to feel that productivity of that. And you're going to be able to be really honest with yourself, and you'll be able to make decisions that you are making now instead of previous programming just running you and you think they're your decisions. And again, what I find is a lot of people won't do whatever it takes because it can feel like it's going to be too painful. Why change? And they'll spend their whole life just run by the same program they're trapped in, the same system they're trapped in. So I'm really grateful that now in this day and age, after years of working in this level with people, to go deep into the reality changes they need to make, deep into the self that they are, and the strategies that are going to actually allow them to transcend. I'm glad I'm seeing more stuff about people talking about escaping the matrix and stuff that seems more, people are on point with this now, because there are many, many layers that people are trapped in by the time they finally recognize it and start to like squirm in it and start to try to figure it out. And it can be a real hall of mirrors, a real hall of mirrors. And it can include very confusing things like somebody that's really supportive of you, but also is part of keeping that reality that you're trying to transcend alive. It's very, it's complex, and it requires a lot of strategy, and it requires strong advisors to navigate you from one reality to the next, where you are actually safe, secure, free, healthy, wealthy, and thriving. So, my suggestion to you, my invitation, is that if you feel trapped, that you don't run away from that feeling, that you don't ignore it, that you don't negate it, don't suppress it or repress it, and don't talk yourself out of it the way that people often do. Because if you've come to a point to recognize that you're in a trap, the good news is to understand that it's a reality program or set of programs that are running that's got you in that reality, that is in fact its own version of captivity, which is a pretty strong word, but it's really important. And rather than like having that honesty with yourself, make you squirm because you're like, holy crap, this trap is deep. I really encourage you to start connecting and being honest with yourself about the parts of your reality, the parts, the components, the people, the place you live, and what is that work that is keeping you stuck? Because for the most part, people keep saying the same thing day in and day, like same people, like it's like, what else could reality do but go, well, you're still wanting to be in the same place. Looks slightly different, but this looks all the same to me. And just go to a next level of being honest with yourself about what is at work that is keeping you trapped. What, who, how, and start to just connect to those aspects of your reality that even though you are working hard, doing everything you know how to do, running on the hamster wheel, following the prescription, just connect to the parts of the reality that are really keeping that going while you're trying to transcend it. You're trying to create a new one. Because when you know that, you can start to make shifts. And what we do at my transformation company is we start to make very important strategies and tactics in order for you to transcend that reality, completely go into the next one, feel amazing there, stabilize there. And I invite you for the willingness to absolutely tactically maneuver for your own transcendence, taking out anything where, like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, all this stuff that's part of the matrix of keeping you stuck, trapped and captive. And really set aside 1 year. This is what we do at my company. We have people start with 1 year of a commitment for the whatever it takes program in order to upgrade your capacity to be in a higher reality instead of you just continuing to be really good at the reality you're already in, and really commit to the tactics and strategies that really will reprogram you for another reality, let you acclimate and adjust to that reality, and let you break bonds that are anchoring you to another reality, that are typically trauma bonds for surviving together, and allow yourself to be free, which may feel weird, in order to become a highly functioning, high performance, full potential version of yourself that is so programmed at such a high level that that's the only reality that you make. Knowing that all these other things, other people that make up this other reality that you're trying to transcend, that when the time comes when you've given yourself a year of total transformation and transcendence into a new reality, that then you will look at those things and you will decide what parts of them you actually do want to keep and take forward, because otherwise you're deciding from the reality you're in instead of the reality you're wanting to be in, and you got to go toward that reality. You can't be hanging on here trying to go there. These are two different directions. And then from this much higher place, if there are people that you want to include in again, as an example, then You can say, oh, this is such a healthy relationship. This is such a great relationship. That's what I want. But you can start to set parameters and negotiate these relationships, so that they are actually purposeful and have a reason, but not just like we're friends, we're hanging out. It's like, what's the purpose of this relationship? And where you can now make secure attachments, healthy attachments in a healthy way with people, only with the people that you want to add into this new reality. But this thing of just everybody like wanting to hold on to everything else while they're just dreaming and desperate for their top reality, and really need to be there, by the way, because in this world, if you haven't noticed, the requirements of us are huge. We don't have time to hold on to the old reality. It's got to go faster. So if you're wanting to escape the trap that you find yourself in and the captivity that you've been in, and how uncomfortable, squirmy, and packed into that you feel, it's going to take a commitment for a whole new reality and a new set of reality programs that are installed in you. Now, you can do this from a variety of ways that you install new programming in you. And you can also do this with a company like mine, the Empire Company and the Reality Company, where we help people go to their highest level reality and transcend lower level reality. Either way, I just wish for you in this upgrade that if you feel a hint of that sense of feeling stuck, trapped, or maybe when you're really honest, feeling like you're in captivity, that you let that be a signal, a positive signal that is scary even at the same time, but a positive signal that whatever the other programming is that you had before this, it's now locked you in. It ran amok. Which makes sense because when we're little, we're just getting programmed without knowing it. And before we know it, we're in somebody's reality and their orientation of reality. Sometimes we never get out of that. So to create your orientation of reality takes some next level reality programming. And I'm excited for you to investigate that. So you can check the links that I've got here. All right, everyone. So let's make a shift from being stuck, trapped, captive to a reality where you can finally admit that this is not sustainable for you. And let's replace it with a commitment to your highest reality, your highest frequency reality, your highest destiny as a person, because both things are programmed. And if you get programmed for the new you and the new life and the new reality and your fullest potential self, and you're willing to learn the important strategies and tactics that people have who make it to the top, and you're willing to make that such a priority that you will deprioritize other things and other people temporarily when that calls for it. And let's just make that upgrade that you are absolutely willing to do it. Because time will pass, year after year will go on, and most people just will continue on the same thing. And by the time they die, they will barely have made it past what their own parents did. But there's an opportunity for an upgrade. And it just takes you being absolutely truthful with yourself and courageous in the commitment and willing to adapt to another way of life that includes freedom, health, and wealth that is truly infinite. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in for this upgrade, taking it in, applying it, and making a big change to your reality. It's been great being with you, moguls. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.